everyone, and welcome back to the next session. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Sotiris Rompas, the Senior Director of Huron, who'll be presenting around capturing the value of digital innovation in medtech. So Sotiris, over to you.
Thanks, Becky. Great to be here. Thanks everyone for attending my presentation. Well, good afternoon to you from Southern California. I wanted to take about 15-20 minutes today to talk about a recent paper that Huron has put together on the value of digital innovation in the medtech industry. As Becky mentioned, Sotiris Rompas, I'm a senior director with Huron Life Sciences, and I'm based in Southern California. So looking forward to the presentation and any questions you may have. Just a very quick note on who we are. Huron is a leading global healthcare consulting company. We have about 3,800 consultants across 26 offices in the world. We're publicly traded, and we work across the entire healthcare value chain. We have served so far most leading health systems and payers in the US, and also we work with more than 90% of all Fortune 500 licensed science companies. So we bring together a range of capabilities from business advisory, enterprise systems, analytics, and healthcare to help our clients accelerate growth and what we call save their future. So that's a little bit about Huron. Just in terms of setting up the context for the discussion around value of digital in medtech, as you very well know, we've been going through an ongoing transformation in the medtech industry, and I wanted to start with a recent survey that our team has conducted. Well, this was back in 2019, pre-COVID. We went out and did a global survey with about 400 medtech executives, and we asked what is their critical innovation delivering value-based care. I wanted to call out the fact that cross-functionally, a lot of the leaders have called out using machine learning, big data, and analytics as a key innovation from a medtech perspective moving forward to help health systems achieve value-based care. As you may understand, this is a very important topic within the industry. Two more important challenges that came up in terms of just the survey. We found that innovative partnerships between payers and medical device companies is another critical area, and new payment models. And I think I wanted to call out those two additional challenges because I think it really reflects the key challenge here with new technologies coming into medtech, and especially on the digital side. So this is where we are today, and this is what our leaders in the industry are saying. As I mentioned, we've been going through an ongoing transformation. Many leading global medical devices companies are moving from product to solution driven business models, and so that brings a lot more digital solutions to the product mix. There's a little graphic here just to show you that as we're thinking about future product portfolios in the medtech industry, we think about it in terms of moving from capital software and analytics to integrated solutions. This is still the future. So this is what we call value driven. A lot of the leading medical device companies have been transforming their business models to achieve that. Well, there are examples in the industry around orthopedic solutions, digital surgery platforms, and obviously radiology solutions within imaging and radiology services. But I think this is still very much an emerging paradigm, and I think digital will probably accelerate moving toward kind of a truly value-driven model that is based on not just technological innovation, but also the ability to risk share with the clients, with the customers, to provide services and consulting that go beyond the product mix, and help our customers achieve a better population health management, population insights, and obviously the quadruple aim, delivering value across all relevant stakeholders, including payers, the hospital C-suite, the end users, and obviously putting the patient at the center. So as you have seen in the news, there's been a lot of diffusion in terms of new types of innovations coming in the medtech industry, especially on the AI machine learning front. There's been an exponential increase of available solutions the last couple of years, and obviously that leads to increased competition. One of the questions that I wanted to raise with you today is, what is the sweet spot? And I think that depends on the type of company you're part from on. I just, the way I'm thinking about this issue is in essentially 2 dimensions. On the x-axis here, you see the type of breadth of value creation that we're delivering to our customers, and also on the the y-axis, the type of capabilities and commercial model that we need to adopt, going from low to high, meaning from a low complexity to high complexity. On the bottom there, you can see is essentially a next generation digitally enabled devices, like for example the new continuous glucose monitor platforms. Then as we're moving toward the top right, there's been a lot of solutions in the market, on point solutions that help customers predict, automate. There's been a lot of work in enhanced visualization tools and guidance tools, and obviously clinical decision support systems. And then a lot of the global medtech players are now moving towards what we call end-to-end solutions, with combining capital device software and services to not to help their customers improve process, improve redesign workflows, and essentially have a direct impact on the department P&L. What I would want to argue today is that this has been certainly the a core topic in terms of the business transformation and business models in medtech. I don't think this is the sweet spot for everyone, and it really is a place where some of the category leaders have been playing for a while, and have been transforming their product mix to make sure that they're delivering digital solutions across the episode of care, but again, it's not for everyone. Now, as we're moving on the top right, there's been companies out there that they're trying to work directly with payers, integrate delivery networks to help them essentially operate better and deliver care better. So as you're thinking about integrated care delivery and disease management, there's been certainly technology companies coming into healthcare to work directly with payers and IDNs, especially on technology enablement and infrastructure. And I called out here a recent example, a recent collaboration between Highmark Health and Google Cloud. Obviously, Omada has done a lot of work in the disease management space in chronic disease. But again, this is historically has been an area which I call internalized from a kind of payer and integrated delivery network perspective. And what I would argue is that whilst we're trying to deliver value that goes beyond our products, especially with digital, manufacturers have been challenged with thinking about what exactly product can deliver value where. So again, as you're moving from the bottom left here to the top right, the question that you should be asking is, how do I make sure that I align the opportunity to create value with the complexity of the commercial model? On the integrated care delivery and disease management perspective, there are elements where they're very critical to payers and IDNs. They were very critical back in 2019, pre-COVID, and they're certainly accelerated with the pandemic. but again, these are issues where a lot of the times are internalized, and actually payers and IDNs are now investing to develop homegrown solutions. So we need to be very careful how we're thinking about our value proposition in that context. Now, the good news is that if you are a company that you're trying to commercialize a digital point solution, there's been a lot of great momentum, both from a regulatory and payer perspective. From a recent analysis that we've done here at Huron, we found that there's been emerging pathways in terms of achieving regulatory approval, but also getting your digital solution into the NHS or being reimbursed by payers. So I think this is definitely a momentum that is going to be even more accelerated with the learnings that from COVID, and essentially for those of you that are working on a telehealth or virtual first care types of solutions. I think you will find that there's a lot more prominence now for adopting digital solutions that was 2 or 3 years ago. So just some examples here on the slide across the world. However, when we talk to payers, especially in the US, we're finding that given the sheer number of technologies that are coming into market, the digital point solutions that are now available to them, you should expect more control standardization and higher evidence requirements. I wanted to call out here a recent dynamic, which is in the US, we're seeing now the digital health formularies being put in place by payers. These digital health formularies are essentially replicating standard practices on the pharmacy benefit in terms of preferred solutions and also heavy discounting and rebating. Companies that work in chronic disease and certainly companies that they're pushing, they're developing digital solutions that they're more patient-centric and used by patients, especially in the on the primary care setting. I think this is a very important dynamic that you should be paying attention to. And certainly even when we're thinking about pharmaceutical companies engaging tech companies to develop beyond the pill solution, this is something that in topics like behavioral change or virtual coaching and monitoring, this is something that we've been thinking a lot about with our clients. Obviously, this is also an opportunity. If you are a smaller company, the challenge you're going to face is that payers tend to prefer big companies because of the existing contractual relations they have across their business, and obviously that's a key success factor here in terms of winning in the market if you are in the primary care setting with your digital solutions. Now, from the work we've done in the last few years, I wanted to bring to your attention 4 considerations for your commercial model. These are things that you're probably already thinking, and I think these are more relevant to VC-backed innovators. If you are a company that you're either based in Europe or in the US, and you're thinking, how do I structure my commercial model, apart from obviously manufacturing and distribution, I think you should be thinking about these 4 things here. And these are also very important from articulating your value proposition and your business to strategics. So the first one is developing what I call a 360-degree view of value. If you're thinking about the traditional setting of care, historically we've been focusing a lot in fee-for-service. We've been living in a fee-for-service environment. As we're moving towards value-based care, I would urge you to think about the economic stakeholder. If you are a company that works in digital solutions that are used in an acute setting and a hospital, questions like how do we impact quality outcomes, especially quality outcomes that they're directly correlated to financial performance for the hospital, the department. How do we drive workflow efficiencies? How do we impact practice economics? I think that's a very important questions, apart from obviously our impact to establish clinical outcomes. And also the issue of standardization and variation it's an important issue from a hospital administration perspective. So as you're thinking about describing your value proposition, please put the economic stakeholder at the top, and think about the economic arguments that you can make beyond just the clinical value that you're delivering. The second point, I call it commercial model because it has impact in terms of how fast a new technology can be adopted, and certainly to whether you can enter a market. Certainly in the US now, we're seeing some great momentum from the FDA with the breakthrough device designation, the pre-certification process. I would argue that you need to seek early input and advice on your evidence development plan and what is the best regulatory pathway. Identify opportunities for real-world evidence generation with your key KOLs. If you can, develop early test cases and iterate as your digital solution improves over time, and features get upgraded, etc. The other important element here is what we call chain of evidence. This is something that was coined by Evidence Street in the US. When you're putting together your value proposition, it's very unlikely that you are going to have a broad evidence base already built. So think about carefully what type of published literature and what type of chain of evidence you can use to support initial clinical and economic claims, and get input from payers when designing certainly your pivotal RCTs, beyond anything that you do for registration. Reimbursement continues to be a big challenge for digital solutions. As I mentioned before in the presentation, there's definitely great momentum, both from a regulatory and kind of a payer perspective, to enable solutions to come to market faster. But there are some important questions that you should be asking from a reimbursement perspective. One being really understanding how your digital solutions fit within the existing reimbursement and payment paradigm. Are the and this is more US specific, or for markets that they use fee schedules. So think about what payment levels exist today, and what codes are available. Is our technology going to be, if adopted, be paid by existing codes? And so if you think that that's not the case, given the cost of goods or given your cost base, you should certainly try to understand better if there is room for pass-through payments or an NTAP. You probably have seen the recent case, which I think is a great case, Visa AI getting an NTAP for their stroke care solution. I think this was the first of a kind, and I think there's going to be a lot more. But please make sure that you're aligning your reimbursement strategy with the financial incentives for your customers, and certainly avoiding situations where creating financial disincentives and obviously limiting early adoption. And the fourth one that I want to leave you with is around pricing. So as we're thinking about digital point solutions, one of the interesting pricing models is obviously subscription. And as you're thinking about the attractive subscription models, we have heard in the market that there's been precedents, but also subscription models do get adopted. Think about the different tiers of service you want to provide. and also early on try to think about what is the budget impact and the economic benefit from a customer's perspective using customer-specific data, and not necessarily only just the literature. The last point here is that there's been a lot of noise in the market with value-based contracting. We have seen situations, especially in chronic disease, where digital point solutions have been companies have chosen to have a value-based contracting strategy in place. It's not for everyone, and certainly I want to just put my 2 thoughts out there that it's going to be payers, and payers will be still very selective in terms of who they do value-based contracting with. So it's a potential strategy, but it's not the only strategy. And so assess the need for risk sharing and value-based contracting that you're thinking about, especially entering the US market. Thank you very much for your attention, and looking forward to any questions you may have.
Thank you so much. That was great. As mentioned, if there are any questions, please do send them over. I also encourage you to connect over LinkedIn or over the platform, arrange a meeting, and that will be obviously, fantastic in terms of widening the community, which is what we're all here for as well. So thank you once again. And I will see you back here later on, where we will be deep in the trenches of AI commercialization. But until then, enjoy the session, and I will see you later.